Well, sometimes we have to let go of things in order to introduce new things into our lives.
I really love to show value. So a lot of the content that I have, things that buyers and sellers, need to hear, and realtors, we should preach it.
What is your internal dialogue? What are you saying to yourself? The person that you listen to the most is yourself. Hello, and welcome to Own the Room with Pam and Gayle. Here is where we sit down with women who lead with vision, heart, and unstoppable energy, where leadership meets authenticity, and when powerful women share their stories behind how they found their voice, own their space, and created impact.
Well, and today we're excited to have Lena Fischer with us. She is someone that is very familiar in the Fresno market as a well-known realtor, as well as establishing the new Century 21 Fine Homes and Luxury Estates division. So welcome, Lena. We are so glad to get to talk to you today.
Thank you. I'm honored that you guys
Excited
would
about
have me come on.
Well, we've all been friends for years, so it's always great when we can meld business with friendship and sit down and have a great conversation that we get to share with everybody who takes the time to watch our show. So, one of the things that Gayle is always saying is owning the room is not about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about confidence and style. And you exude that. You really do. It's just such an honor to have you here today.
Thank you. I mean, I agree that, just being natural and, just own it.
Yeah.
I love getting to watch. You do a lot of really great content on social media.
Thank you.
And you post really quite a bit, which is very impressive because it's a lot of work.
It is.
And so I think I've been seeing something coming out daily recently. How do you plan? How do you do it all? I mean, you're busy selling homes, running a real estate division, coaching luxury agents, working a large territory, doing a lot of things from agriculture to luxury estates. So how do you do it all, and how do you find time for to create content? And
God, do I do all that?
Yeah, I'm exhausted listening to it.
Me too. The social media gig, I mean, it's something that it takes a long time, and you have to be very consistent. I've been lucky where I've been able to have someone help me. I had a gal for a few years that did my social media. We would meet once a month and we would knock everything out. Now I take a different approach. I'm a little more active in what I want to present. I have a lot of, I do a small podcast on my own. Nothing fancy like this. This is fabulous. This is giving me some ideas.
Well, good.
Not that I need anything else to do. Lisa Kennedy is the gal that is my social media girl now, and she runs my Instagram, Facebook. She doesn't know this yet, but we're going to need to start pulling more things into my YouTube. And now I hear TikTok's starting to be a little bit more relevant. I kind of laid back on TikTok a little bit, but they're saying that they've changed the platform a little bit. So we're going to have to boost that. But I really love to show value. So a lot of the content that I have, her run for me is things that buyers and sellers, need to hear. And, and as realtors, we should preach it, to help serve the community, and not just to get a sell, but really just to offer a service. My business has always been a real service-driven business. As you know, I owned Staging Simplified.
Right.
And sold that last September just because it was a lot. Joe's like, Lena, you don't have to own a staging business. You can still stage, but you don't have to own the business. And that's true. But, creating that was something really just special to me in my heart. And I was very proud that I was able to maintain it as long as I did.
Well, sometimes we have to let go of things in order to introduce new things into our lives.
That's correct.
And change is really difficult, especially if we are doing it at a level not just being good at it, but being respected and admired by others in our industry, which is exactly what you had and or still have, but with having your own staging business and doing a lot of real estate. So change is so difficult. And you have had a lot of change in the last couple of years. So you were with a great company, and I
love London Properties.
I wasn't going to mention who it was,
Yeah.
but I know they're a great company, well respected in the community. And you had been there for a long time, and then you made this big change. And of course, we were all going, did you hear? Lena Fischer left and went over to Century 21. And oh my gosh, what is she doing? Oh, she's doing huge things. So first off, tell us how, it had to be such a difficult decision to make. You were making that decision. You were making a decision to let go of your staging. How did that all go for you?
So, I started with London Properties, and I always tell this story. The reason why I got into real estate was, well-known luxury realtor Joe Sharoni.
Yeah.
We're just really great friends, and he's the one that got me into real estate. I was going through a hard time in my life and a transition from a marriage, and I'm like, what am I going to do? Yeah. What am I going to do? I haven't worked for all these years. I've been a mom, and he's like, you're going to get into real estate.
Joe said that to
Yes. And I'm like, what? Real estate? He says, yeah, go talk to Barbara on Monday. And so I did. And I got signed up for the classes, and within 4 months, banged it all out and got my license, and that was that. And so he was my mentor.
Mm-hmm. What year was that?
10.
Okay.
2010.
Okay.
And so I was, Joe was my mentor for about 3 years, and then I decided that, I got to try to swim on my own to build my own name.
Right.
And that's kind of where it started. So that's when I transferred, and I went to Herb Hansen for all those years to, help him broker manage.
Oh, I didn't even.
Yeah, I was there
didn't even know that.
almost 7 years.
Oh my goodness.
And
Is
so
that where the agriculture piece comes in?
Yes, he was introduced to me and said, I heard I need to know you and I need help. It's just a small, ag firm, but he goes, I'll tell you what, if you come in and help me manage the office, I'll let you do whatever you want with your real estate, your residential, and I will teach you ag, and there was a lot of benefits to it. And because, I was still a fairly new agent.
Right.
And so I took him up on it. And so I was with him for many years, and then decided to go back to London Properties to go full force with, my residential. And, they've always been good to me and wonderful people. And yes, it was very, very hard to sit down
with Patrick.
Yes, it was very hard.
Well, it must have been hard to sit down with Joe and say, I'm leaving again.
Well, that was difficult. Well, and I was on my own when I went back. I wasn't,
Sure.
A teammate of Joe's. But I took a month and a half to really, for my Joe and I to discuss this move when I was, when Century 21 came to me and asked me they wanted to talk to me, and I said, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in just moving to a brokerage. But they said, well, it's something special. Would you at least just listen? And, I love Sandra. Sandra's an amazing,
oh, absolutely.
She had a lot to do with it too, because I trust her and know that she has my,
interests.
Yeah, my interests at best. And so anyway, I did. I sat down with them, and it really intrigued me. And the reason why it intrigued me, because I love marketing. And I loved everything they said and what they wanted to build. And I'm like, I can do that. That's something that really turns me on. I just love well, I love building people, but I also, love brand and all of that, because that's really all these years is what I've been doing, is building my brand.
Right.
The staging was part of building my brand,
absolutely.
all of that,
Yeah, absolutely.
So Central California isn't known for its luxury real estate.
Right.
But we do have quite a bit of luxury real estate here once you start to see and become exposed to it. Was there a transition of okay, if I'm going to focus on luxury real estate, I'm going to have those sales come fewer and farther between. So if it is a strategic move for you from selling, single family homes and working with investors, it's a different niche, and you have branded yourself well in that area. Have you found that have you been having that debate in your head, or did you have that debate between, is there enough fine homes and estates in this area to pursue this market, or how did you handle that?
Like you said, there is a lot from Bakersfield, all the way north.
So you work all the way from Bakersfield?
I do.
Okay.
When I came on, they already had the Pismo office, but they hadn't really done anything with it. There wasn't a grand opening. There wasn't any of those things. And so, and then I did a remodel on it, because I said, well, this is not a fine home and estate office. We're going to have to make some adjustments. So we, some paint, some flooring, and all those things, and branding. And so there was that. And then Bakersfield, I have fine home and estate agents in Bakersfield, Visalia, and Fresno. We really don't have fine home and estate in Porterville and Lemoore. Not to say that there's not, agents that do some luxury, but they're, to be on the fine home and estates, the agents have to already be established and have had the numbers.
Right.
And their business has to be, about 85% of their business. And they need to be full-time agents as well.
Are there any other requirements for fine home and estates?
As far as agents, that's basically
in case
it.
somebody's out there watching this today and is interested.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I see it as this. Not everybody wants to do luxury real estate. Just like it's a division, not just like everybody doesn't want to do commercial.
Right.
Or not everybody's in ag. Luxury agents for me are people that, that's their primary business. And not that we don't do other things.
Yeah.
I don't turn down anything.
Yeah, exactly. I hear you.
And a lot of my clients refer their children to me, and, they're not ready for a fine home and estate, but, it's.
But you're going to help them. Because,
Absolutely.
So how do you market differently for fine home and estates than you do for a traditional property?
I really don't. I built my business on brand and staging and presentation to get your price. And
so whether it's a $400,000 home, you market it as well as you do a $4 million property,
I do.
For example.
I treat everybody equal opportunity. Because one day, I have clients that, I sold them their first house, and then 2 years later they moved up. And, I have one little gal that was a VA referral years ago when I was at Herb Hansen, and she's on her fourth home.
Isn't that amazing?
How it's so important to have that retention. And I think the only way to do that is to care about people.
Right.
Yeah, it has to be authentic.
It has to
Are
be.
there any stories that you have that just really seem to, that you remember, that pull at your heartstrings, maybe that just really, you
Probably there's so
had
many.
a real challenge? Yeah.
I know, I'm sitting here trying to think of one.
Yes, you've had a long career, and so you are a vet, and so I would imagine working with vets is very meaningful to you.
It is.
So I would imagine there's a lot of gratitude of being able to work with them, and your experience in the military. How old were you when you went into the
20.
And you were in the Army, I think?
I was in the Army. I was in the Army for almost 4 years.
Okay.
And then when I got out, I did 3 years of reserve. And then I met my husband, and we got married, and then I started having children. And so I think I only did like 3 years of reserves because
So what did the Army teach you?
really, honestly, the Army is who I am. I mean, the Army taught me resilience and to believe in myself. And I mean, I really believe that the military is really just important and key for somebody. Maybe not everybody needs it. Maybe some people just have all those things, but I didn't. I really wasn't doing well in college. Just kind of lost and decided to join the military. And it really just gives you a lot of power if you play the game, right? If you do the things you're supposed to do and have some heart, because you need heart. And, you have to let all the noise outside, because it can be really mentally, exhausting being in the military. It just, but if you play the game, I mean, you just benefit so much from it. I am very thankful for my time in the military, and really,
I would imagine that
veterans.
being in the military taught you not only discipline, but it taught you to not leave anything on the floor.
Right.
It's like when other people think I'm done, I've done all that I can do, you knew there was more in the tank. You knew that you still had more to give. And I would think that kind of discipline could really help pull that out of you. One of the things that we talked about yesterday in our huddle was, what it takes to go that extra mile. And I'm sure that time that you served in the military really helped you to learn that, to pick up that phone, to make that one more call, to stop by and see that client when you really didn't feel like you had that still in your tank, just to keep going.
Absolutely, because we never really feel like doing a lot of the things that we do.
Right.
But I think for me, it was really key because, with my upbringing, maybe we'll have another talk about that, but I just didn't, really have an upbringing where I really felt that I was worthy, because of my upbringing. So just saying that, making the decision to go into the military, I mean, it's still very emotional for me.
Yeah.
It just really changed my life.
So you were one of these kids that said, I'm not quite sure what to do with my life. Things have not been going great. Maybe I just need to go into the military, get my head on straight, and it will give me the structure that I'm lacking in my life.
Yes.
That kind of
And you mentioned the word confidence as well.
Yes.
It gave you confidence. I'm just sort of thinking about a 20-year-old woman who now has to do all of the physical fitness routines and exercises and things that they have to do. That's hard work.
Well, that was actually the fun part. I've always been, I'm
Okay.
very athletic.
Okay.
And
You play pickleball now. I know that.
Yeah. But like in high school, I was track and soccer, and I always played
you're
a
a
lot of
competitor.
sports, tennis. So I am a competitor. So that part was actually really super easy. I was like a platoon leader right away because they saw that I was kind
Leadership.
of a leader.
They saw leadership in
Yeah. I think the hard part are really a lot of the mental games, and you have to see that that's just what it is. They want to make you strong here, because most people that go in probably are very weak, and it is very scary going in and being lined up, coming out of a bus, and drill sergeants just yelling at you and getting in your face.
And you're saying, what the heck was I thinking?
I mean, you just mentally just need to, this is part of the game. This is part of the game. This is part of the game. And, it's kind of the same getting into real estate. It's scary getting into real estate once you start getting into it.
So that mental toughness that you developed was able to transition into your real estate practice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Or anything that you want to start, starting a staging business. I mean, I think from my upbringing, I really it's really caused me, it's just, I have peace knowing that I can do anything. And really, I do believe it all. If I hadn't gone into the military, I don't know. I mean, who knows what
Did you grow
would
up
have
here in
happened.
this area, or
No, so I'm originally from LA.
okay?
And then when I was 10, we moved to Texas.
Okay.
That's where my dad was from. And so, and then I stayed there until I went into the military.
Okay. That's quite a journey.
But always been a California girl. Although I love Texas, but I love California
Yeah.
more.
And you have you have a license in Washington. Did I hear that? No, maybe it was somebody else that I was reading has a license in Washington. Sorry about that.
No, that's a good idea, though.
So your career transition with all of the growing up, we had a tougher childhood. Going into the military toughened you and gave you mental confidence, which then transitioned later on that you could do anything. So what's the next steps for you? Where are you going? Where are you taking this fine home and estates business and your real estate business? What are your next steps?
Well, so the Fine Home and Estates was with Jordan Link. And you just heard Jordan Link had the big merger with Select. And Select, Dan Jacuzzi, the owner of Select, wonderful man. I know a lot of people get scared with merges.
Changes.
But I always see changes. I always try to take big advantage of changes. He's huge. I think now he's the largest Century 21 franchise. And then he also owns Coldwell Bankers in I think 6 other states like Montana, Colorado. Just coming back from the Select summit that we just had, it was pretty exciting. It was impressive that he has his own summit, with 1,800 people.
Wow.
I mean, he's got a lot of agents. He's a really great leader. I think it's a good merge with the Mikes from Jordan Link. They're also awesome guys.
Yeah, we've heard great things
But
about
this
them.
was a really great merge just because of the platforms that Select has created on their own. I mean, it is pretty phenomenal. I really wish I would have had it 2 years ago when I came on, because I kind of created everything from the bottom up for the marketing and all of those things and doing the ribbon cuttings. And it would have been nice to, to already have
Things in place.
all the marketing things in place. Probably would have saved a lot of time.
I'll bet.
So what are the changes you've seen in real estate since you've been in the business now quite a few years, I think 16 years or something like that?
And going through COVID and all of that.
Yeah, so you've seen a lot of changes. Where do you see the industry going now, and how do you have advice for a new agent that's getting into the business of what they need to know?
I think real estate in general, and you guys would probably agree, is, it's pretty simple if you pass your test and, you learn your contracts, all of those things. I think that's the easy part. I think what agents really need to realize is that how you run your business and, how you find your clients. And I think that is just having heart and putting people first.
Yeah.
It's not about you.
Yeah, it's not about you.
You really, with the social media that you do, those aren't cheap productions. You invest your own hard dollars back into the business. And a lot of real estate agents don't want to.
You have to invest back in your business.
That's, I'm just looking at what you do. And that's one area that I think you do exceptionally well, is that you do invest in yourself. You do invest. You go to conferences, you go to summits, you get training. You are very you've had a lot of experience with design, and now the social media stuff that I think you're doing is just off the charts. It's just so well done, and it's so creative. So, and I know you're spending the time personally developing that story. There's things I've learned about you. You've done a great job, I think, of sharing who you are with the communities in social media. That I know you love to entertain. I know you love to cook. I know that you love to be around people. I know that you love to have parties, and that you work very hard showcasing your clients' properties. So I've learned you're a hard worker. and you're a great dresser.
Thank you.
And in fact, when Pam and I
style.
were
As
getting,
you ladies, I mean,
yeah, no, well, we had to.
that's nice coming from you guys.
We had to kick it up a notch just to keep up with you. Right?
No kidding.
So Pam was calling me this morning.
Yeah,
This morning or
I'm
last
texting
night.
her. What are you wearing?
Yeah, and Lena's coming.
woman
Lena's
thing.
coming in, so I want to make sure that I'm up to.
Oh,
certain-
you ladies
so-
always look
Oh,
fabulous.
thank you. But so. That,
Well, so obviously your social media, there's a lot of real Lena in your social media, and we hear it from even the people on our team, really more from the women than the men that have just a really hard time getting in front of that camera and exposing themselves because makes them feel very vulnerable, or they don't like the way that they look. Whereas the guys, they just stumble in front of the camera and do something funny and everybody laughs and moves on. But what advice would you give to women in real estate who are really having a hard time figuring out this social media? Because they're going to look at you, Lena, and they're going to say, she's got it figured out. She's got the confidence. What do I need to do to get to at least take a step towards being where Lena's at?
What you focus on expands. I mean, the
Yes.
more you
That's
do,
so true.
And I've done been to a lot of social media conferences.
So education.
Education. I'm huge on education. I mean, I follow a lot of people, people that, I admire and I think once you start getting on video and, people don't want to, I get it. I didn't want to either. When I started using the first gal, I was at London. She had created all this stuff for me. And she's like, okay. And then I'll bring 10 outfits. I'm changing. And she's like, now we're going to do this. Now we're going to do that. I mean, yeah, at first it's really hard. But I think I heard
because you feel very stilted.
you're very vulnerable. I
Yeah.
mean, you are
Right.
because you're like, people are looking at you. And I mean, I think eventually you just don't care. I really realized going to social media conference in San Diego that someone said, first of all, when you look in the mirror this way, that's not how people perceive you this way,
Right.
the other way. I mean, people look at you differently than you look at yourself. That's a
Exactly.
fact, and that's number one. So once you can get past that, that's very freeing. And two, you have to remember that I feel like your audience or whoever's watching it, they want to know the real you. And the real you is not perfect, and the real you makes mistakes. And you know what? I would have never worn my hair up for anything. I just if I have something and I don't feel like doing my hair, I'm fine now pulling it back and just this is me. And I think and it has taken a long time to. I mean, we all have our things that are still back in the back of our head, like you're just not worthy.
It's called the imposter syndrome.
And
is
there's
what it's
and
called.
there's
Who
a
do
lot
I
of that.
think I am?
And everybody
doing
has
this?
it.
And why would
Everybody.
anybody want to hear from me?
Right.
And so
how did you get over that?
Like I said, just what you focus on expands. Every single morning I wake up, I do gratitudes. I do all the things so I don't even get my mind to go there. And does it go there? Sure, it goes there.
Yeah.
But then I now can snap myself back into, no, not today, Satan.
Yeah.
I mean,
that internal dialogue is so important.
and you have to start in the morning with it.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, having those mantras that you say doesn't even matter as long as they're positive what they are, but starting off on a positive note like that, I think can change your whole day. And one of the things, again, just going back to, we have a huddle every Monday morning that we do with all of our agents. And one of the things that I was talking about with them, I don't know if you were still on there because she was traveling. I said, what is your internal dialogue? what are you saying to yourself? You know, the person that you listen to the most is yourself, because that you have about
It's always up here.
60,000 conversations with yourself every day. And do you know that the majority of those are the same conversations that you had with yourself yesterday? So that internal dialogue, it makes us who we are, gives us that ability to get up in front of the camera and be ourselves and say, I don't really give a shit. You know, I mean, and that's important. It is important to, when Gayle and I were gussing up, I know gussing up, that's an old term, but to get in front of the camera, I had this piece of hair sticking straight out, and Gayle goes, oh, you got to fix that, you know, but not worrying about those things, because people don't want us to look perfect. People like the fact that we're vulnerable and that we're putting ourselves out there. And I hated that phase that we went through on social media where people were using the filters and things like that. It just these unrealistic looks that everybody had, and younger women trying to stand up to look like that. Yeah. So I have a fun question for you, though. All right. And this is kind of off track, but I'm kind of wondering. So you've got $1 million home or $2 million home, and you've sold it, and you've closed escrow. What are you taking your clients? What do you give to your clients? I know Gayle's going, what the hell are you asking? But I'm just curious, because I think that
she has a closing that evidently she needs a gift for.
Oh, that's a great idea. I really don't. I'm just curious, because there's so many mechanics around what we do that people don't even think about. Yes, there's all the service, but there's also reminding people to get PG&E changed over, and just all the mechanics of what it takes to make a move. And we're not involved in one. We might have 7 or 8 of those going on at one time. And when you think about all those moving parts and all those people involved, I mean, if people, it is.
So it's really having systems in place.
It's really about having, do you have a system in place for how you do these things? Do you give your clients things throughout the transaction? How do you handle that?
So I do have a system that I created, and I love AI, by the way.
So do we.
I would die if I didn't have my Pierre. He's my
what's his name?
Pierre.
I
love
Pierre. I have Walter.
You do?
Yes.
I have Albert.
Yes. So we all 3 have named our guys.
Yeah. See, I think it's important. Joe thinks it's kind of crazy. He's like, who's this Pierre?
My husband always says, go ask Walter what he thinks. We do need an expert.
I mean, I run everything through, I don't just, run it in and then use it. I always, make sure everything's me and whatever. Although after a couple of years of using your chats, they know you, right? And
they know very well.
Your personality.
You get into a relationship.
I know, it's kind of strange. But I had Pierre. I laid everything out on the line on what is in a transaction. So I'm a big list checker. So I have
that's fantastic.
So as far as gifts, though, because I love gifts, but I base my gifts based on the personality and the people and what they're into.
So it's very personal.
It's very personal. I don't do,
cutting boards.
I do have the knives, and I have those things too. But I usually, if I'm going to do something like that, it's like I'm a big theme person. I know you probably caught on to that too.
A lot of style.
I love a theme. If you give me a theme or like parties, it's gonna game on.
Yeah.
So I just really love making people feel special. So
you're kind of thinking about it from the very beginning. If it's personal, then and you don't have all right, I have a basket that so-and-so puts together for me. It's got a cutting board. It's got Cutco knives in it, pistachios and
Yeah.
stuff like that. You're thinking the whole time. You're watching your people. You're getting to know your people, and you're thinking, what can I do personally for each and every one of my clients?
Yeah, and a lot of people, like a lot of my clients, well, especially when I had the staging, and I still do it, but I don't have the staging anymore. So if they bought a new home, let's say they were a buyer and they bought this fabulous new home, I will purchase time for consultation for design or give them, certificates to one of my favorite design stores or, I don't know. I'm just real creative that way. Or if they love to, they're downsizing and, they want, do like certificates to restaurants and bottles of wines and glasses and those kinds of things.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because they're downsizing. They don't need more crap.
They don't need more. Yeah, exactly. So I just kind of think of it that way. What does somebody need or want and what their personalities are? Do they love cigars? I've bought cigars and
oh my goodness.
I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing. I'm promoting but if somebody or loves cigars, right? Buy them a nice box of cigars.
That personalization is what it's about.
Yeah, or a certificate to the place in Fig Garden, the cigar shop.
That cigar room that you can smell for 200 feet away from it.
Oh my gosh, when you walk in there,
you walk out and smell like a cigar.
Yeah, Joe's like, where were you? Yeah.
When you walk by the elbow room, you get that.
Yeah, it gets in your
laugh,
hair.
yeah.
It's it's on you.
It's like a night out, right?
Right.
Coming home the next morning, going, whew.
The smoky cough.
I have a question for you. What would surprise the audience to know about you? What's something that most of us don't know? We see you on social media, run into you at restaurants or at the coast. What's something that we don't know about you?
I'm pretty real with everybody.
So what you see is what you get.
What you see is what you get, but what people probably don't know is I've not always been like this. And when you say, you got your young agents that come on and they're just real timid to get on camera. I mean, I really did not have a lot of self-confidence growing up. I had a lot of fear growing up. I wasn't sure what was going to happen just that afternoon or the next day, or it was a really
erratic kind of lifestyle
the way that I grew up as a child. But this is a fun fact. My grandmother, Grandma Rowena, she was a hairdresser and she was a really good dresser. And she would always take me on a special shopping trip and buy me something really special. So I think I've always had the love of clothes and I love shoes and, and bags and all of it. But even though the way I grew up and, we weren't rich by any means. I mean, real hardworking rancher family. But she would always take me on these special trips. And I think that's kind of what grew me into, I loved makeup and...
one person is so important to you to help create or direct you in a certain way that perhaps you wouldn't have gone if she wasn't present in your life.
Gayle had a grandmother like that.
I did.
Yeah.
So how that?
Yeah, and my mother, too. My mother's always been very, beautiful woman, well kept.
She learned that from her mother.
Makeup, very natural. Always took care of her skin. All of those. So that was really bred in me too. I love skincare. If there's a product, if there's a product, I'm gonna buy it. Or if there's, obviously I haven't done any facelifts or anything like that. And would I?
There's so many alternatives.
I don't know, but
you don't need it.
I think just keeping, just
taking care of your skin.
I love that. So I'd love to promote a lot of products and stuff like that too. But yeah.
From all of your success, I'm curious, was there something, your big first splurge that you remember?
Great question, Gayle.
that. You've got a big commission.
Is Joe going to be listening to this?
We don't know. We could keep him away from it.
We probably
just to get a good and honest answer.
My first big splurge was because Joe's so wonderful to me, and he's always bought me beautiful jewelry
things.
and bags and stuff like that. But I would say for my first splurge, I bought a very expensive Fendi bag.
And you were so proud of
in
yourself.
Beverly Hills. I went with my sister-in-law. We went to Terranea, and then we ended up going into Beverly Hills for a day or two to shop. And I think that was my most expensive first
And you had
splurge.
that debate in your brain that, should I buy it or I shouldn't buy it?
No, there wasn't a debate.
No, you were just going.
It was premeditated.
Okay.
Like I knew I was going to do it, and
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Because we tend to always put things like that off
Yeah.
and take care of everybody else's needs.
I think it's important to celebrate. So that's the other thing too. I think, you work hard, play hard,
Celebrate the wins.
and you have to celebrate the wins, or you're going to be exhausted.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And getting something that really, it's like you look at it and you go, and may have even said this in the past, because I know I have a similar big splurge like that later in life. And I always said, oh, that's ridiculous.
What did you buy?
Who would ever pay that kind of money for a purse or a belt?
Wait, was that your first guilty pleasure spill?
Well, no, I think it might have been some jewelry, but the purses is something that I was always saying, there's no way I would never spend that kind of money. And now I've got several of them,
Right.
and I absolutely love them. I'm wondering what my next splurge is going to be, but I feel like here's the difference. Just what Gayle was saying is that we go through our life as women, taking care of everybody else. And I grew up without a lot of money and only got more comfortable as I got older and was able to make those kind of purchases. But I had to really mentally gear myself up for it by saying, I deserve this. I've worked hard. I've taken care of everybody else. I deserve to do this for myself, So it's that, again, it's that feeling of worthiness that I think, or worthlessness, that we go through a lot of times in our life, and then getting to a place where you say, I've worked really hard. It's okay for me to, instead of, I would never splurge on myself. I'd wait for somebody else to do it. But for me to say, I deserve this.
And that's kind of owning your own power.
It is.
Absolutely.
It really is.
That really is when you start to take ownership of your own power and saying, I don't need someone else to give me permission to say I'm worthy. I can say that to myself.
It's huge. It absolutely is huge. Or saying, I can do this. I can do this.
That's why I think it's so important in the morning to start with whoever you follow. I mean, I follow so many different people, but like even, Tony Robbins, or
I love Tony
any
Robbins.
of those people that you turn on your YouTube. And I have this thing after I do my gratitudes and prayers, and then I put on my tennis shoes and go for my walk. I like to go in the morning when the sun's coming up. That for me is the first thing that I look forward to that every morning. See, and then
You're filling your soul. You're filling
your
cup.
soul. Yeah. And then I listen to a chapter in The Greatest Salesman. And then, because I listen to one of those every morning for 30 days. And then I move to the next. And then I just go on my YouTube. And whatever happens, because, I follow a lot of people, whatever the first thing is that pops up, I listen to it. And every day I think, God sent that to me. I needed to hear it.
I love
to hear
that.
it.
Yeah.
The thing that for me that's really important, and I'm wanting to talk about a little bit, is about being in the room with women like you or women like Pam, because we can be in places where other people aren't doing what we're doing. I mean, we're pretty bold doing this podcast. You're doing a podcast, doing as much social media. So we have to be pretty bold and feel comfortable with ourselves. And so being around women that are like us helps me anyways, have these very stimulating conversations, getting ideas for what I could do next, as opposed to me if I'm with someone that isn't there yet, that isn't interested in growing their social media, is wanting to do things in a different way. And that's fine too. But sometimes I feel guilty, and I don't know if it's me projecting on myself or them projecting like, do you really need to do all of this? So being with people like you and Pam and other people of like minds, going to conferences, building friendships around people that are doers, that's what fills me up and keeps me going and keeps that negative imposter syndrome out.
Yeah, because not everybody wants to do social media.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of, amazing, obviously, realtors that we know that they're just not social media people, and they run their business a different way.
They build a good business.
And that's, everyone's different, and I mean, I don't think, we don't want to judge each other. I think women should try to build each other up,
Absolutely.
not tear each other down.
Yeah.
Based on, maybe some people would say, oh, well, she's on social media. She really loves herself, or, so, and that's
who does she think she is?
Who does she think she is? I mean, it's just something I've built. I mean, it's expensive. It's a lot of time, but you have to love it because you have to have, be creative.
And have you gotten return on investment? Have you gotten clients by your social media?
By social media? I've gotten clients off my social media.
So it has been a business investment.
Well, and two, you got to remember, if someone refers you, I think the first place they go to is
social proof.
Is your social proof. So
That is for sure.
That, and your Google, obviously your Google. So like my social girl, she feeds my Google daily too. That's the other thing. Running, you got to feed the monster.
Right.
You got to be relevant.
Yeah.
So
Gotta
therefore you
continue
have
to
to have
put that
content.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know any other way to do it. There's no easy way to do it, and it's a day at a time.
It's the marketing of the moment. I mean,
and it changes,
and it's changing constantly. So we have to stay on top of that. And Gayle is absolutely. I mean, she's just becoming a master of that. She really is.
Well, you both are so fabulous.
She works
online.
I mean, obviously at our age, it doesn't come natural. This is something that we have to work at, and she works very hard at it.
We are very blessed to have Connor
Yes.
in the room that you all can't see, but Connor is the mastermind.
The man behind the magic.
He is the man behind the magic, as I always say. But so, Lena, thank you so much for joining us today. It has been a true pleasure.
And it's always the fastest hour.
Yes,
It goes by so quickly.
Was it an hour?
It is.
I don't know.
Yes,
It was
yes,
close to it, though.
is.
Yeah, it goes by so quickly.
Well, I want to ask you guys:
Yes.
Are you guys going to be having another
Own the room?
little? Yeah.
Yes, we are. We're working on that currently. I didn't even have to pay you to ask us. We are looking.
Well, because I missed the first. Missed the first one.
So we're looking to do it in the Visalia area.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to be moving the venue to Visalia, and it's going to be in the fall. So we are currently in the planning stages of that, and we will make sure that we have you there. So
Because it's not that far. And we
No.
go to a lot of stuff down in Visalia area. And we think that there'll probably be quite a few people
Yep.
that come from Fresno down to Visalia. Our first event was very successful and went real well. So word of mouth, I think I'll get a lot of
Because
people
Visalia,
out.
you can pull Bakersfield
Oh, yeah.
and Fresno.
Yes.
So, and because of the offices, I travel and talk about buying home and estates to
Yes.
everybody
well, you can
to
bring your
educate them. And
bring your agent, your other agents,
agents
from the
in,
community.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
would be fabulous.
Exciting, yeah, be
And the
sure and give me the
networking
date.
that can occur from these events are just phenomenal. So, Lena, thank you for
Yes.
joining us today.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Oh, I love that.
And we
Yeah.
appreciate the audience for being here and joining us at Own the Room with Pam and Gayle. If you liked this episode, please share it to someone that might need to hear it, please. And then also subscribe. So until next time, thank you for joining Pam and Gayle with Own the Room.